Hello, and almost happy Halloween time. We're in that season. One of my favorite times. And you can ask my buddies here, Bob, the Minion. We cannot forget Kevin and Boo Bear. They've all come out for this video. Because on this video, Bob told me to do this pin right here. So we're going to focus on this pin. So Bob and Kevin are going to be watching from a different angle. But Boo Bear is on my head. And here we go. This is a Jinhao Swan. This is a special pin because a special friend of mine, Andrew, gave this to me when he was with his grandparents, Frank and Cara Overman, at the Dallas Pin Show. Now, Andrew's what, about four years old? And his grandparents have been working with him, teaching him about fountain pens. And Andrew, being as young as he is, has been very impressive. He really has been getting into fountain pens and learning how to print. So that's a lot from a 4-year-old. But if you ever saw him in action, you would say Andrew is the future of fountain pens. Why is that? Because he's the kind of pen enthusiast that will keep fountain pens going and going and going. So here is the Swan Jinhao. It's a plastic body, black, transparent just about. It's smoky on the barrel and on the cap, but you can still see the nib. A nice swan is on the clip, and that's what the clip is made of. Would that be a swan or a pelican? Because of the beak. What would you think, Mr. Announcer? They call it the swan, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a swan.
Yeah, but I don't know, the beak reminds me of a pelican. But anyway, we'll stick with a swan because that's what the pin is, swans. It's a nice pin, a good-looking pin. I do like the color of the pin and the feel of the pin. So let's untwist the barrel. Not a lot going on inside. We'll put that aside. And we'll go down the barrel. And there's a step off right around in here, where the cap screws on, right here on the fitting part. And then there's the grip is right in here on the two sides of the pin. There's a place here and here, an impression, I would say, where you can put your fingers and they will fit comfortable. And you can hold your pen for hours at a time and enjoy your fountain pen. It's a hooded nib, so I believe this pen, I haven't written with it yet, so I don't know, I think it would probably be an extra fine or a fine. I won't know till we do a test ride on it. But before we do that, let's go ahead and unscrew the barrel. And it comes with a converter, and that's one thing good about Jinhao. It's a pull-out converter. Push in, pull out, real simple. And I'm sure that people are saying, can this be an eyedropper? Well, it's all plastic. I don't see any metal on the inside, so I'm thinking yes. Just make sure you put your silicone around there and close it up real good, and you can go to town with it. I have not tried that out yet, so don't hold me to it. So what do you say we give this pen a try? But before I do, the pen weighs 10.5 G's. This bird has flown. It's a nice feel in the hand. And the length of the pen is 5.96 inches. 5.96 inches. And it does post securely. And that posts in at 6 inches. If it's comfortable in the hand, I have small hands and the pen fits nice in my hand, so I can either post it or not. So here it is, post, and it's again feels comfortable in my hands. I have no problems with it. So you can join me as I ink this little baby up with some ink. And I think I'm going to use, you can go ahead and let them know that while I get napkins ready.
This is Papier Plume Black.
So that's the ink that I will be using. Let me get my napkins ready. So it's the Papier Plume Black, just like Mr. Announcer said. I'm totally organized, right? Right. So here we go. Get this little jewel off. And I guess you can say I'm inked up and ready to go. And that's okay. I don't mind if I get inky because I can always wash my hands. And dealing with fountain pens, you're going to get inky. So we're going to set it down right here. And we'll put a little ink in there to get this started. Oh yeah, that's sweet. Close it back up. Wipe it off. Put the barrel back on, and I will post it. One thing about me, I do like clips on my caps. For my pens, that's a big deal breaker for me. I prefer a clip. So let me get my Birmingham notebook out with Tomo River paper. And we'll get busy here. Doing some writing. And I think we'll go right down here on the very bottom here. And Jinhao. Wow, very nice. I would say a fine nib. That's what it reminds me of anyway. You could even say medium fine, upside down. Some call it reverse writing. And it writes really nice. I just cannot talk and write at the same time. Okay, there you have it. Now we'll do regular writing. You know, I am really impressed with this nib. I really, really am. I didn't think it was going to write as well as it did, as it does. It writes extremely well. It is not a scratchy nib by no means. It's a nice smooth nib. Let's check for wet. This here. And it's wet. Lays down the ink. Really writes really well. Now, I'm not going to try to get any line variation with the pen, but this pen has gotten my attention. Again, I did not think that this hooded nib on the Jinhao is going to write as it just did. So, this is a keeper. I love this pen. You know, first of all, the most important thing for me is what's under the hood. Speaking of the nib under the hood. If the nib ain't cutting it, then I'm just not getting no thrills out of my pen. I like a smooth nib. I don't really care for feedback. Don't like scratchy. Don't like dry nibs. I love wet nibs. So if the pen's not, let's say, wet, as long as it has a good flow and not scratchy, I can live with it. But this pen really met my expectations as far as the nib goes. I think it's an excellent writer. You know, I forgot how much they cost, but you can find them on eBay. If you're a new person coming into fountain pens, or you're thinking about coming into fountain pens, or if you're already in the fountain pen game and you have yet to try one because you're skeptical like me, I think it's that time for you to say, I'll order one. I really like this hooded nib because, you know, I'm really not into, you know, Jinhao hooded nibs. But this one is an exception. They got this one right. Again, thank you, Andrew, for this pen. I will cherish it always. Peace. And remember, folks, don't text and drive, please. And almost Halloween, so get your stuff ready. Later, folks.